When's the last time you saw a 1006 get press checked? Probably been a while, right? This is a cool gun. The reason I dug that gun out was to have a discussion, not about Berettas or about SIGs or Glocks or even about safety, but it's to cover 2 points to a conversation that's going to be had as long as we have guns. Recently on the website pistoltraining.com, SLG, the author, wrote a series of articles detailing why he prefers to carry traditional double-action pistols. I'm not going to rehash the conversation here, but one person that I will invoke is Ernest Langdon. Go to Langdon Tactical's YouTube channel and watch all the information on it. In Ernest's view, and it's a view that I share, traditional double-action pistols, also called double-action, single-action pistols, are safer. The reason that they're safer is that the first trigger press is longer and heavier than striker-fired guns. Not to have that conversation, I just want to add 2 points to this conversation. The number one point is to be wary of statistics in large numbers. Don't worry, I'll get to that. And the second is to talk about my specific performance metrics with double action in today's post-2016 era. So for the statistics part, my dad has this saying, and I really like it. There are 3 lies you should be aware of, son. Lies, damn lies, and statistics. Statistics can be spliced 100,000 different ways. But if you look at big numbers and unlikely odds, the chances of them happening increase. If you play the lottery 100 million times and you have a 1 out of 100 million chance of winning the lottery, theoretically you should win, right? That's statistics, and whether or not that happens is debatable. But anything you can do to make your gun safer that also does not have a performance metric is something that you should consider. And here's where my nuance comes in. You should consider this especially if you're an enthusiast shooter or if you just happen to carry your gun a lot. The reason for this is traditional double-action guns, like this modified Langdon Tactical PX4, have that long and heavy first shot, followed, of course, by really nice single-action trigger presses. Go ahead and zoom out here. Sorry for that camera view. That long and heavy first trigger press makes it slightly safer for me. I have to handle my guns a whole lot to earn the performance that I have. Sometimes, now I remember the days I do not dry fire than the days that I remember dry firing. I dry fire more often than not, and when I'm really getting spun up for something, I dry fire sometimes up to 3 times a day and hit the range once if not twice a week. That is a lot of shooting. That's a lot of handling. And guns are dangerous. Guns are dangerous, and that's why they're fun. That's why I carry them, and I use them for personal protection. One mistake that I make with them can have disastrous consequences. Having the fudge factor, or the human factor, if you will, of the double action helps me be safe. You can argue how safer it is compared to a striker-fired gun, whether it's this much, or this much, depending on your worldview, but it is safer. The difference for me as an enthusiast will be the same for you. If a gun is this much safer and you multiply it by the tens if not hundreds of thousands of times that you handle your gun, that is a wide safety margin that is worth considering. Even if you don't like traditional double-action guns, you can buy parts such as this striker control device. This was my first real performance pistol. It was inspired by Scott Jedlinski and Hilton Yam, and as you can tell, this thing is grody. I shot the heck out of this. But with this striker control device, it makes it harder for me to shoot myself when I'm reholstering. I put my thumb on the back of the slide, and in case I do something stupid where like I place my finger on the trigger, it makes it harder, but not impossible, to press the trigger. Whereas with a double action gun, it makes it very hard, but once again, not impossible to press the trigger when reholstering. I'll get to my second point about performance later, but I want to add some caveats to this. If you carry a striker-fired gun, and it's a good gun, outside of easy or potential digs at the SIG P320, I'm not calling you unsafe. I personally also carry striker-fired guns that do not have a striker control device. One like this awesome Agency Arms that I got from Aaron Cowan. This gun means a lot to me. I think it's a very cool gun, and it's the same one that he used and he dropped in his video. I did not add the striker control device. It's from Agency Arms, so it's got the really cool A on it. And I didn't even modify this gun. If you can tell, Aaron is a left-handed shooter, and the magazine release is on the other side than I typically carry. For me, it's not a big deal. I'll just drop the magazine release like that. But when I'm tuning up for Glock matches, or I just want to carry a really cool Agency Arms, really cool Glock, I carry it, and I don't lose any sweat over it. My point for this first point about statistics in large numbers is that if I can personally make my gun safer, or even if it's this much safe, and not lose any performance, because I handle my guns a whole lot, when I multiply this amount of safety by the thousands of times that I handle my gun, that's a wide safety margin. Now for the second point of this video. Performance for traditional double action guns and some of today's modern shooting. It really should be called the postmodern era because we're kind of post Jeff Cooper's modern technique. But if I say postmodern, I might have art critics yelling at me in the comments. So I'll just say modern. So for me personally, I can speak to this authority because my accomplishments stand on their own. I don't have to invoke anybody. I'm the first person to earn the Modern Samurai Project Black Belt patch with a double action, single action gun. I did this from the appendix and waistband position. This is quite a difficult accomplishment, specifically because you have to earn a lot of speed with your gun. Whether you believe the sub-second draw is important or not, you need a sub-second draw on an A-zone to earn that patch. Regardless of whether you think that patch is cool or worthy of earning, you still need a sub-second draw in order to shoot the first couple stages. And really, the last stage, which is a 1.5 second draw at an A-zone at 25 yards, is effectively the same thing at 7 yards, just with a smaller target. So you need more care on your trigger press. I'm actually not the first person to shoot a Beretta to earn it. That was actually Fabio Spinelli, but I'm like 99% sure he shot it with his 92 XI outside the waistband. And currently, there's another guy who earned it, Jared, I forget his last name, sorry, who also shot it with his really cool Beretta, but that was also outside the waistband. The authority that I have to speak on this is I shot it from the appendix and waistband. The website says outside the waistband, and that's kind of, that's an error on the website. But it's harder to earn it from AIWB than it is from OWB. Just is. Because I was able to earn that cool patch with the speed that I put in, it was actually with this gun, there's just no detriment when you put into work between a traditional double action gun and a striker fired gun for that specific context. And honestly, I don't know if there really is a whole lot of performance in other contexts. The traditional double action gun is not slower. It's made me a better shooter because I have to have 100% connection between my trigger press and my sights, which is something that I can absolutely fudge on my really nice 1911s or double stack 1911s, and something that I can get away with maybe just a little bit more with striker fired pistols. But to earn that single shot draw at an A zone with a sub second or at 25 yards, I have to have 100% connection between my double action trigger and my sights, which translates to striker fired guns and 1911 guns as well. I'm going to wrap this video up just with a recap. Anything you can do to make your gun a little bit safer without sacrificing performance is something worthy and something that you should consider. Even if it's this much amount safer, if you handle your guns a whole lot, you get a big safety margin. On the flip side, I personally do not see a performance detriment for double action guns in today's modern era. Regardless of what the older guys speak or think, you can earn a sub-second draw with a double action pistol. If you can do that, you can do a whole lot of other things with it and also earn really fast splits with the really nice single action. Because I'm really lucky. I have an interesting variety of people who watch my channel. I have people who have a whole lot of experience, and I have people who are new and have really good questions. If you have good questions or comments or concerns, put them down. But I put a lot of thought into this video, and I'm finally getting to speak about items that I have the authority and put in the work to comment on. Thank you for your time.